Okay, so here we go. Azura! Today I'm filming this video because I feel like there needs to be some... Sorry. Didn't realize those were in there. These are just mainly my observations on parenting. I wrote some stuff down and I feel like I need to talk about this. I mean, I know it's a very controversial subject, parenting, and it's kind of like based solely on the parents, both husband and wife, about how they parent. The good thing is my husband and I, we pretty much have kind of the same outlook on parenting, even though he was raised in a completely different culture and I was raised here in the United States and he was raised in Mexico. But I was recently in Mexico for a couple months, and I noticed some things about their culture and parenting that I liked and that I didn't like. And then I brought those things back here to this country. The Mexican culture, I love, okay? I absolutely love it. I have been around the Mexican culture my whole life. Even though I'm American, I was born in the United States, I have been around the Mexican culture and raised in both cultures. So I feel like I am like I am like a perfect candidate for this video because I have gotten the best of both worlds and the worst of both worlds. Number one thing that I noticed in Mexico about the children is the respect that they have for elders. That the children, like literally every single time you as their aunt walk into the room or they walk into the room, they greet you. So they give you their hand and they shake your hand, or they hug you and kiss you and they say, "Hi tia, hola tia," you know, and
Skype night or
yeah.
Logan.
So they have that respect that I really appreciated. Like, it's something so small that you can teach your kid, and it actually goes so far in life. So I liked that. Like, there are children in this country. I'm not bashing or shading any certain culture. This is just observations from what I've seen and what I want to incorporate in my child and my parenting skills, because I feel like I appreciated those things, and I think that they will go far for my daughter one day when she's older. So something so small as to shaking my hand, and when it's time for me to leave, they, you know, went right back to me and said, "Okay, tia, you know, it's nice to see you," and shook my hand. And they were also present. They were present in the moment. And that's another thing. And the parents instilled that in the children. They told them that you have to shake your tia's hand. Like, even when they're small and they don't know, go shake your tia's hand, you know. And even if they're like shy or they didn't want to, no, you need to go do that. That is something that's very important in their culture. So what I really liked too was the children, they wanted to be there with you. They wanted to be involved. They wanted to talk to you and be in the present moment with you. And they wanted to know all about my culture in America, and they wanted to, and they were so small. Like, one of my nieces she's like 6 or 7, and she was just like right there, you know, asking me questions about our currency and asking me questions about our country and how much this costs. And it was funny because like a money thing was a huge thing for them. Like, they wanted to know prices of everything, and it was so cute. Number 2 is respect for food. Respect for food is something that we are very far from. Like, I'm sorry if this offends anybody, but Americans are extremely wasteful. And we just are. We are just a wasteful society. And when I was in Mexico, and because that's like, these are the things that have been instilled in me, it's hard for me to see past that. So in Mexico, like, Azura would not want to eat her yogurt, and I'd just be like, okay, whatever, and throw it away. And they would just look at me like, you just threw that, you know, she's not going to eat her yogurt. Like, you bought it for her. She wanted it. She needs to eat it, you know? Oh. And so that happened a lot in Mexico, where, you know, people would just look at me like, what's wrong with this person? Like, she's wasting that food. The thing is, it's not even like my family in Mexico are like super poor or anything like that, where they can't afford food and so they've got to like cling on to everything. It's more like I said, it's more of a respect for food. Here. It's more of a respect thing where they just, you know, they know food is an important thing, and they know that food costs money, and money comes from hard work, and it's like a chain of things. And also they eat what their parents eat, so it's not like they go in, their parents make their kids chicken fingers and french fries, and then they go and make themselves something, a healthy dinner of like steak and broccoli and, you know, or a chicken soup or something like that. The kids eat what the parents ate. There was no separating, and if they didn't eat, then they didn't eat. You know, it's not like, oh my god, my kid won't eat, I don't know what to do, I gotta make, he only eats chicken fingers, or he'll only eat hot dogs, and it's like, well,
I just only eat hot dogs.
yeah, I feel like if your kid only eats hot dogs, it's because
I just
you
eat a hot
kind of,
dog and then like I eat them in the plate and then I no drop them.
you've literally have given in to your child. So one day they decided they wanted to eat a hot dog, so you go ahead and give them a hot dog. The next day you give them food and they don't want it because they want the hot dog. Well, no, you're not getting the hot dog. You're going to eat the soup because mommy made the soup and that's what's for dinner. So I think that that's a huge thing too that we Americans do. I feel like we give in to them way easier. And I think that that's actually a major issue. And me personally too. Like, I started finding myself like going into that. And then after I realized that, I'm like, hold on a second. No, she's going to eat what we eat. The other night we made cabbage soup with beef and cabbage soup. And most kids, like, you think, oh no, kids are not going to eat that. But she loves it. So, and it's because I don't make it like, oh, she's not going to like this. No, it's food. Eat it. My niece is about 1.5 years, and she was just incredible. This kid was like, you look at this kid, you say, wow, like, this is how I should be raising my child to be more independent. Because if you, at 1.5 years, she was just drinking out of regular cups. You know, she would just pick up a regular cup and drink it, and no spills. She just knew. After I realized that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, here in America, like, we give our kids sippy cups until they're like 4. Or maybe even older. Like, I don't even know. I probably would have just kept going with it. But when I came back, I was like, okay, no, she's not using a sippy cup anymore. She's going to use a regular cup because she's perfectly capable of using a regular cup and learning where the water goes.
I don't do sippy cups.
Yeah, you don't use sippy cups anymore because you're a big girl. Yeah.
I like sippy cups. Yeah.
The cell phone thing. Okay. We went into people's homes that their children did have phones, and they were, you know, playing games on their phones. They had internet. They were busy, occupied, just like our kids here. But my family that I stayed with, I'm specifically talking about my husband's family that I stayed with, and things that I observed with their children and how they lived. So they didn't have cell phones. The adults did, but the children didn't. They didn't. It wasn't a necessity. That was just like a luxury, or maybe like even a dangerous luxury for kids, because I feel like we as a culture are extremely attached to our cell phones. Another thing I noticed is I didn't have an abundance of toys. And that made me wonder. I wondered if it was because the parents didn't have that kind of money to buy their children abundance of toys, or because they just felt like it wasn't necessary. And like, I wanted to ask my sister-in-laws these questions, but I didn't want them to feel offended, so I didn't ask them. But I did wonder, is it because they felt like it just wasn't necessary, or because they couldn't afford it? I don't know, you know, but I think it was maybe a little bit of both. And I felt like I came back home and I see my daughter's got all these toys, and then you can make the excuse of, well, she's the only child. Because I could say that. I could say, oh, well, and I have said it. She's the only child, so this is why I have so many toys for her, and this is why she's got so much stuff.
No.
But the truth is, these things are unnecessary, and I need to teach my daughter at a young age right now that these things aren't necessary. And I've been sucked into that rabbit hole of the American materialistic ways, because that's how I was raised, and this is how I'm going to raise my daughter. And it's not how I want to raise my kid. This is exactly why I'm so glad why I think it's so important to observe other cultures, because of that reason. These kids, you know, would get on their bikes and go get soda from the store or something like that. And I know that it's different in the way that in this country it's not that simple. Like, our stores usually are far away, or, you know, we're scared that our kids are going to get stolen or something like that. And it's true. That is definitely a reality of our country, that we can't really, you know, we have to keep our eyes on our kids all the time. And that is definitely something that happens. But at the same time, I feel like small things that we can do for our kids to make them feel like confident about themselves, that hey, I can do it. You know, my mom gave me this responsibility. I need to do this the right way, you know, because I think even at a young age they're capable of doing these things. So like, they would send the kid to go, you know, go get a soda or go get medicine. It was so funny because my sister-in-law, or my mother-in-law sent my niece, who's 6, to the corner store, which is literally right down the road. It's not even far. But in Mexico, you have to understand, it's different. It's not like it is here. Like, and it's so funny how that is, though. But she said, go get this certain medicine from the store, and it was like this crazy long name. And she's like, okay, fine, you know. So she went to the store, got the medicine, and came back, and it was that exact medicine. She got it right, 100% right. And I just thought that was so interesting because, first of all, a kid here is not responsible enough to go buy medicine. At least we make that seem like it's that it's dangerous, or it's, you know, it's so taboo to send your kid to the store to get medicine. And it's like, wow, it's really not. It's like, she knew how to say this word because she's responsible, and she's done it before, and her parents have given her that trust that she needs to do these things. Overall, what I got from the culture of parenting in Mexico was that the kids were more advanced when it came to like street smarts. Like, they were much more advanced because they had those responsibilities that their parents gave them, and it helped them in the long run. But at the same time, the cons that I saw were, I felt like maybe the mothers weren't as nurturing as they should be. And don't get me wrong, like, they're a nurturing culture, absolutely. Like, they hug and kiss and love and everything. But I felt like the one-on-one time wasn't there. And it's mostly because the parents are busy working or cooking or cleaning or something like that. But I felt like it's so important to have that one-on-one time with your children. And I didn't see that as much as I would have liked to see. And also, no books. And I think books are a very important thing. And I didn't see books. The children, the little kids, is that they were super smart when it came to like life things, you know, like drinking and eating on their own, and really, like, you know, they would only stay in a certain distance, and they wouldn't walk past that distance because they knew it was dangerous. And they weren't as smart when it came to like book smart because there was no books. So I was like, oh wow, like Azura's got 1,000 books, and I've been reading to her since she was 3 months old. Like, people would look at me like I'm crazy, but I've always read books to her. So books, I think, are so important, in that they need to incorporate that more in their culture. I am from this country, and we are so materialistic, and it's almost like sickening. Like, and I have been pulled down. I have been programmed to buy everything I see. So like, I would go to a corner store in Mexico, and I would buy like 6 things, and then Azura would eat 2 of those things, and then the rest of it was, I either gave it away or it was no good, so I threw it away. And people would look at me like I'm crazy, because they're like, wow, that's so wasteful. And we are so extremely wasteful. It's just crazy. Like with water bottles too. Like Jesus, we drink so many water bottles in plastic. Certain specific YouTubers, and they're mostly American housewives whose husband works and they stay home and cook and clean. Well, cook and clean and take care of the children and take care of the finances and all that stuff. Because that's what American women, that certain type of American women. There's two types, okay? There's the working class American woman who works her butt off like crazy and still takes care of her kids and does everything. And then there's the American housewife whose husband works and takes care of everything. And then she takes care of the kids in the house. But what I've noticed about these women, and it's so hard because I feel like I'm being pulled into this direction. They do these videos of like buying things and showing you what they bought for the holidays, and let's do some fall decorating, and let me show you what I bought for fall. And I was like wanting to do a video like that, and I'm like, well, I need to go to the store and I need to buy stuff so that I can do that video. And then I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, no, like don't be pulled down that path. Like stay away from that path. It does nothing for you or society. It does nothing for society. It does nothing for your children. It does nothing for you. That's how we are. Like Americans will go to the store and we'll buy something just to buy something. Like we feel like we have to buy something. And it's just, wow, it's crazy. I definitely need to work on because I have been programmed. I have been programmed my whole life. Okay, so I guess what I want you to take from this video, and what I actually am taking from this video, observe different cultures. Observe as many different cultures and parenting skills as you possibly can. And then just mold them into your own parenting. Mold them into what feels right for you. I have a lot of learning and a lot of changes that I need to do with my parenting skills, and I know that, and I am working on those things slowly but surely. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's gonna have the perfect parents, but I just feel like breaking that chain is the first thing on my list. Like I need to break that chain of that materialism chain. And I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard because I want to go out and buy hundreds of dollars worth of fall decorations and decorate my house when I already have a bunch of stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I didn't offend anybody. I just want everybody to understand maybe just a certain point of view of parenting. Comment down below if you're from a different country or something like that and you have different cultures, like what you believe in as a parent, what you feel is the most important thing to instill in your children. I can use some help. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.
By the way, my daughter's face is blue because she's obsessed with Halloween makeup, and we've been doing lots and lots of Halloween makeup lately.
I got lips.
So don't mind her.